You know, it's been a while since the peak of hurricane season actually represented the actual peak of hurricane season. You're looking at your screen right. 2 tropical storms, 4 areas to watch, 6 possible cyclones in the Atlantic today. That is right, my friends. Welcome back. It is September 11th, 2020. Can you believe that? 19 years ago to the day. It's 11:18 a.m. and we are checking out the Atlantic Ocean. Very highly active Atlantic Ocean. As I said before in the intro, we have basically 7 areas to watch. Our 7th is actually coming off the west coast of Africa. So technically it's 6 areas. We have 2 tropical storms, Paulette and Rene. And then we have 2 different named invests. We have 96L right here moving its way from the Bahamas underneath Florida into the Gulf. And then, of course, we have invest 95L, 90% chance of cyclone formation over the next 5 days. But take a look at the 48-hour percentage, 70% chance. So we could be looking at a tropical depression in the next 10 to 12 hours with this guy right here, 95L, but 96L is also causing some issues. I was just watching an update on the Weather Channel, and the more popular idea, I guess you could say, as I hit play here so we could see some of the formation of this. This is one of the newer invests we're looking at right now. You can see it's a very scattered system over the Bahamas right now, but it's starting to collect itself, and the actual movement that we're going to be seeing here is this might be forming and becoming a tighter cluster of storms. That's when we see our tropical depression and then the possibility of a tropical storm. I don't think that will happen until we get into the Gulf, but that process into the tropical depression, that will more than likely happen while it's passing underneath Florida. This is definitely going to clip South Florida. It's going to do its damage in the Bahamas and then move its way under South Florida as a depression and then possibly resurface on the other side of the Gulf, messing with the west part of Florida and the Panhandle. So we have a few days to watch this come underneath Florida and begin affecting parts of the Gulf. That other smaller invest that you can see right here, this yellow one, is actually centralized underneath Mississippi and Alabama right now. And you can kind of see there's not much going on there. This is expected to kind of follow the momentum of the Gulf in a westward direction and then affect parts of Mexico. So this invest right here, I don't see us needing to really worry about, so let's eliminate that one for right now. But 96L right here is certainly going to be an issue for South Florida and the west side of Florida. Whether or not this thing forms a new tropical storm or not, tropical depression is basically guaranteed at this point with the way this storm is forming. And it won't be so much today. It's going to be starting tomorrow that southern areas of Florida are really going to start seeing the effects of this tropical system here. It will be named as soon as the depression phase is passed. So we're going to go into a tropical depression here, more than likely while it's moving from the Bahamas underneath South Florida. We'll go into the depression, and then it'll be given a name. We'll decide what that name is going to be, whether it's going to be Sally, Teddy, Vicky, or Wilfred, one of the 4 names remaining. We do have other invests that could take those names, and we're going to talk about those now. As you can see, as of a couple hours ago, hurricane season peaks today. This article was released yesterday by CNN, and the Hurricane Center is watching 7 systems, just to show you guys that I'm not just making this up about all these different invests in the ocean. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. 2 of those are already named, as we know, Paulette and Rene, and we have 4 names left until we get to the Greek alphabet: Sally, Teddy, Vicky, Wilfred. All right, let's try to make a little more sense of this mess here. So we went over our disturbance number 2, which is probably going to affect areas of Mexico and possibly the southern ends of Texas. We'll find out in the next day or two. As you can see, 10% chance of formation over the next 2 days. 30% over the next 5 days. We already talked about invest 96L. We talked about 95L possibly forming in the next couple days as a storm that will kind of form underneath Paulette and Rene, which are both expected to hook off into the Atlantic Ocean and then kind of make an eastern turn, with Bermuda being in the crosshairs with Paulette. Paulette possibly reaching as high as a Category 3 storm. Rene, of all storms, is the one that is projected to be the weaker of the 2, kind of cutting inside of Paulette's trajectory and then kind of dissipating, with invest 96L actually down here, 96L, and possibly 97L being the 2 front runners after Paulette. I know that's a lot of information to take in, but if we look on this chart here, we have Paulette right here, and then Rene making another puff of storms at this hour. And then underneath is where you see Invest 96L, and then the possibility of 97L coming off the west coast and the Cape Verde Islands. And then, of course, we have 95L you could see here in the Bahamas. So I'm just trying to tie this whole wave of info here together for you guys. And because we are at this point in time right here, that's why things are so confusing, and we're looking at all these different invests going on. Each one of these a separate system, but all of them are in correlation with the weather that we're receiving in the U.S. It's all based on the jet stream, the Bermuda high pressure bubble in the Atlantic Ocean that steers these storms, and obviously the different shear winds that play a part, the jet stream being a type of shear wind. As you can see here, all these high level winds are moving. These steer these storms. So once you see Paulette and Rene, as we can look at this chart here. If we take a look at Paulette first, we can kind of see that trajectory kind of brings it to the west and then hooks really hard to the east, right around Bermuda, as we were talking about. Still potentially a very high hurricane, as you can see here on this chart. Model intensity guidance chart has this up to a possible Category 4 storm. So anytime we have a high category grade and anything's near Bermuda, we're definitely going to keep an eye on this storm, especially for the northeast of the United States. And here is the updated path on Rene. Not expected to reach that hurricane strength as of yet, but kind of popping up into the Atlantic Ocean and then waiting a little bit to the west and kind of like getting stuck in this area based on the different pressures. And that's why you're going to see Invest 96L, which is actually underneath Rene and Paulette, kind of make its way and break towards the Lesser Antilles and Leeward Islands. You're going to see Paulette and Rene hook up towards Bermuda and into the middle of the Atlantic, and then 96L is going to protrude out towards the Leeward Islands in that westward direction towards the U.S., which is not something we really want right now. And you can verify that here with these very wave-looking spaghetti plots. So it's going to come up into the Atlantic, kind of pull another western dip, and then come up again. So it's kind of like bouncing up through the Atlantic Ocean, not expected to do much and not expected to be a threat to the U.S. And if we dare take a look into the future at what 96L is capable of doing, here we have Paulette and Rene. Just take a look at what the GFS holds for the future. Paulette and Rene go into the Atlantic. Paulette coming a little closer to Bermuda, and then check out 96L and the path this storm takes. Unbelievable stuff. If that stays true, we're going to have a lot of issues to deal with. 940, that could be a Category 4 storm right there, sitting right in the pocket between Florida, the Bahamas there, and then Puerto Rico. Never want to see that. And if we take a look at the European model, we see something very similar. If I backtrack here, we see Paulette and Rene, and you're going to see 96L form and make its way towards the Leeward and Lesser Antilles Islands. And there you have it. So the European and the GFS model very much in agreement about 96L being an issue. And really all we can do right now is let a little more time go by and watch these systems. Again, we have Paulette here, Rene here, we have 95L forming down in here, and then we have 96L forming over here by the Gulf. So we got to remember the tropical Invest down here was named first. That's why it got the name 95L, and then later on this one formed, which is why it's down the line at 96L. All right, my friends, I hope all that info was helpful and it wasn't too confusing. I know it was a lot to digest at once. Once again, it is September 11th, 2020, 19 years later, as we watch the peak of the 2020 Atlantic hurricane season. I will be back with any updates that are necessary for today. If you have not already, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Every little bit helps, and I enjoy putting out this info to you on a daily basis. Thank you all so much. Shout out to Canada, especially Ontario. Thank you all very much. Be safe. Bye-bye.